All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see some of you are still awake this afternoon. Thrilled to be here. Hopefully you are too. I did see the sunshine outside at lunch. So if that's calling your name, we'll get through this. We have about an hour, but may not take that long. So thanks for joining. I'm Leah Olson. I flew in from Michigan. In my life, it is about 4:30 in the afternoon right now, and it's almost time to be done. So those of you getting your caffeine fix, I brought, just in case you start falling asleep, you might get these thrown at you. Who's had pocket coffees? Anybody? Where's my pocket coffee crowd out there? All right, somebody has. The rest of you are missing out on life. This is life right here. Do you want one of these? I mean, these were flown in from Italy, okay? These are the real ones, not the ones you get on Amazon. We'll see what my skills are like. Nice catch. Nice catch. Who else? Anybody else back there is still... All right, I don't know. We're going to see. You might have to move up to the front, or somebody's going to help you with it. Who else? A couple more here. He's coming for it. If I peg you, I didn't mean it. I'm going to tell you right now, there's 4 bright lights there. I feel like a deer in a headlight with 2 semis coming at me. So you'll take one? Oh, look at that. She even came up for it. I like that. There's my girls in the crowd. I've been in this industry for a really long time. I love there's no lines at the bathroom. That is the highlight of my day right now. Sorry, gentlemen. Anybody else? I know I saw some. There we go, right up front. I think I have 2 left. Anybody else back there? All right, there's my crowd that wants to stay awake. Cool. All right, so if you don't know pocket coffees, now I'm going to tell you what they were, because the folks that knew what they were, they're going to like them. The rest of you are going to have to just go get them. And it's an interesting thing. It does really tie in with what we're going to talk about a little bit today. But pocket coffees are from Italy. They are dark chocolate with an espresso filling. So if you want a quick jolt, you get 2 or 3 of these. I highly recommend you stick with 3. They're packaged in a 5-pack for a reason. So I do know a few people that popped 5 of them and said they had a really lively night. But they'll keep you awake. So we're going to talk a little bit about, we're all in technology, right? We're in technology, we're in security, we're in cybersecurity. I'm with our friend Mr. Kennedy there. I think cybersecurity was a branding. We're going to blame our marketers for that. That was slapped on top of information security. Again, I've been in this industry for over 20 years now, which is crazy. I started right in elementary school, right? But as I'm sure some of you did too, I can tell you've got the experience and the look and feel here, but it was information security when I grew up in banking. It's been information security as I work in healthcare, and now I work in the electric energy industry as well. Anything that's critical to your daily life, there's a very good chance somebody like myself or my team, security advisors, are working with them. We do not work with United Health. I'm just going to throw that out there. We do not work with CrowdStrike. Let's see, who else was big this year? We had some big names. It's been big names this year. Doesn't mean they don't have some great people, some great plans, and some great things going on. It may mean that they have, as an organization, some gaps to fix, some weaknesses, and here who does not. So when I was looking through what we were going to talk about today, we're going to really kind of throw marketing under the bus today. I also have a marketing degree as well as my computer science programming degree. And when marketing lets a stranger into our servers, anybody ever here ever have an issue with marketing? Only a few, come on. Okay, so being a marketing major and a computer science major, I'm going to tell you right now, going through college, it was always exciting. I went to my marketing groups and they're like, let's put it on social media. Let's blow up a website for it. Let's do a big production. I go over to my computer science class and they're like, lock down those ports. Don't let social media through the firewalls. And it was a constant battle between the two. So it's been an interesting ride. It still continues to be an interesting ride. And we're going to talk about this. Where are my Cary Grant fans out here? Does anybody know what movie this is from? Charade. Yay! Bonus points for you guys. Charade's one of my favorite movies. Huge Cary Grant fan. Or maybe you're an Audrey Hepburn fan. For all those folks out there, she was a lovely leading lady. Does anybody remember what that movie was about? There was always a twist, right? So Cary Grant, for those of you that need to catch up on your Cary Grant movies, your black and whites, and some of you already know this because you recognize Charade. I'm so proud. But one of my favorite movies, Cary Grant meets Audrey Hepburn in the Swiss Alps. She takes a shining to him. I mean, who wouldn't? It's Cary Grant, right? So she finds out, then she comes home, her husband's dead, and suddenly Cary Grant's there, and he's Peter, and he's Josh, and he's all through the movie, he keeps having different names when he changes, and suddenly she's thinking, who is this? Have you ever had one of those days where you looked at your servers, or maybe you were working with a cloud partner, maybe it was a third party, and there was a little activity going on, and you're like, who is that doing that? One of my favorites, and this isn't one of our main stories, but I'll have 3 key stories here as we get into this, but I was working with a team, great communication marketing team, and they use Grammarly. Who doesn't love Grammarly, right? We all need it. It's helpful. Those of you not familiar with Grammarly, I know you're looking it up right now, but it does great things because it's going to check your grammar, check your spelling, and yes, it's better than Microsoft's editor, okay? We've been down that road. However, Grammarly is a third party. Their communication marketing team had set it up. They wanted all their communications to be professional. They were growing their team, so they now had 6 people, and they couldn't guarantee consistency, good writing, good editing, grammar. Well, one day, one of the guys logs in, and he calls me up, and he says, Leah, I don't know what this is in my Grammarly account. And I said, what do you mean? Like you were writing it at 2 a.m. kind of, I don't know what this is, or like there's something you really don't know what it is. He goes, it's not in English. I said, huh? Well, so come to find out, we did a little research, did a little strategic looking, worked with our security team, and found that somebody in Asia has found his username and password. We all can, pretty much bet that was on the dark web somewhere. No MFA set up. They had gone in, they were dropping their documents in there, and then they were practicing their English writing skills. So we had documents that weren't in English, and we had documents in English. Both. And I said, well, okay, so worst case scenario, they're getting some free grammar tools. I don't know. But as we dive into this, I'm going to tell you there is a little bit of censored material in here. There are some 3 key real stories that we'll look at in addition to that one, and we'll progress as we go along. So marketing. Any of you work in marketing? Before I talk about the marketers, I like to check the room. Okay, somebody's hiding in the back. I got it. That's like going into a bank exam and then being like, oh, the IT auditors are here too. Whoops. Anyway, so our marketing groups, they're the fun people. I'm telling you now, you made the wrong career choice. You should go into marketing. They have the cool stuff, right? I just took off my bionic hand. I set it over there, but we have those cool wristbands, right? We have our stickers out there. We have all the swag, the bags. What else? There was a bunch of, all kinds of stuff. Oh, the Pop-It balls. That's a hot item at my house, the Pop-It balls. So the marketing team, they're the fun people, right? They have a job to do just like we do. So they're doing events, they're doing gifts, they're doing websites, they're doing swag. They are doing all this fun stuff, and they might not always be thinking about security. Now, in my mind, I'm going to step back for a second, and I'm going to think about, okay, well, I'm the marketing person. I don't want to take the company down, right? I mean, it's not my thing to go out and push an event, support it, throw thousands of dollars into some T-shirts for our employees and things like that. I don't want like that to turn around and then suddenly the CEO shows up at my door and, hey, by the way, did you know that our website can't function? So this is where we really need to work with our marketing team, and that's where we're going to look at some of these things going on. So this is going to be real, it's going to be unfiltered, and there's going to be risks involved. We heard that word, I heard that in a couple sessions this morning as well. I don't know what the conversations look like at your organizations, but at mine, there's risk and impact. In fact, some of my teams have said, are you ever going to stop saying that? I said, only when it's risk assessment. So we progress. So who knows what my furry friend is up here? Where are my animal lovers? His name could be Phil, I'll give you that much. Groundhog's Day. I mean, don't you guys celebrate Groundhog's Day? Groundhog's Day is in February, which happens to be in the Midwest where I live, Michigan, Wisconsin, those us folks out there where we get snow and all that stuff. It's our end of snow season sometimes it's not, but for the most part, it's kind of quiet. We are based around lakes, we're based around boating and skiing and all those fun activities. So one of my companies I was working with partnered, as we all would if our city was going to have a Groundhog's Day festival. They said, well, yes, we want to support this. We want people to come to town, right? Well, the problem with Groundhog's Day is a bunch of businesses jumped on board. I get a call on Saturday morning from a friend of mine who happens to be Vietnamese, and she says, Leah, I want to go to the Groundhog's Day festival. I said, okay, that's awesome. Go for it, She goes, I'm trying to get to the website, and it's closer to my language than it is to your language. I'm like, say what? Like, what does that mean? So the Groundhog's Day festival event had been taken over by the Chinese. It was hosting basically a Chinese Craigslist. But now, as we think about this, in the grand scheme of things, it was a local event, city-sponsored. Like, why would my critical infrastructure energy companies care? Healthcare, banks? Oh, wait. They all were sponsoring it. They all had posted it on their Facebook. They all had linked it to their websites. So now all of this traffic is coming in, going out, and there's a lot of reputational risk, right? So now our question is, whose risk is that? Who owns that, right? So as we talked to, I worked with the Groundhog's Day committee, but essentially it was set up by the marketing departments of the business. So maybe your organization sponsors events. Maybe your organization partners with other companies. Maybe you cross-post access, right? You put a link, you sponsor an event, it links back to your page or your social media, things like that. One of the things that our marketing teams aren't necessarily thinking about is those types of risks, right? If we pause and we think about it, where we sponsor things and where our digital footprint goes can have a huge impact on our business. So it's a really good case point as we look back, as you'll see a life lesson on there. Contract security reviews can save your Groundhog Day. One of the things that our marketing team really didn't look at, they didn't ask the event organizers, who's hosting the website? What's our responsibility for that? Do we want our information on it? This is a huge thing, whether it's a Groundhog's Day festival or just partnerships. I can tell you, when there's a huge national security event, one of the first things I do is go to their website and who are their customers that have their logos out there, right? Anybody else checking those? Who's part of that? So just something to kind of take away as we think about when we're part of these discussions, if we're part of these discussions, is your technology security team part of those discussions? So then we have our appreciation. We love appreciation. We've got a t-shirt here today. We have customer appreciation. We have employee appreciation, business partner appreciation. Is there anything we don't appreciate right now? There's a lot, and it's good, right? I mean, we get the free t-shirts, the coolers. We got a great coffee mug. It was, I'm trying to think, we've got the Yeti mugs. Those were given out a while back. As we do that, a lot of our marketing team is saying, let's let them make a choice. Whether your organization has done it or not, one of the companies I was working with said, you know what? We want our business partners, our customers, our employees to be able to choose what they want to get. So they worked with a third-party company. They made basically a store. Have any of you been out to a store to your companies where you go out, you get to pick what you get? I see a few head nods. Okay, everybody's still awake a little bit? Good. So when you have those stores, their security and their IT team had talked to them about it because they had to send that information. Well, then the brilliant idea happened because this company happened to be about 300 employees, so not huge, but big enough. And they said, how are we going to get employees out there to pick out their gift? Well, we're going to email them, right? Of course. But you know what? We're really busy. Our admin team's busy. Our marketing team is busy. Oh, thank goodness the third-party marketing company said that they will send the email for us. What could possibly go wrong with that? We got a third-party company sending an email with a link to our branded store. Guess what? We've just been training employees forever. Don't click on links, right? So not only that, we've got that going out. We've got that in the background. The IT department, that was kind of the red flag. Maybe we should have put a hold on this process in the first place, right? Red flag goes up, they call a timeout, and they say, you know what, but employee appreciation is only 5 days away. We got to do something. So they say, okay, that's fine. Have we worked with this vendor? Yes. Have we checked the contract? Yes. Have we checked their security? Yes. Ironically enough, they actually had a security program. So we come back to it. Employees go out, employees pick their gift. About 6 months later, the company calls and says, hey, we have a problem. Well, what kind of problem? Well, remember that store we set up for you? We were all using the same username and password, and apparently that got compromised. Oh, yeah, okay. So they had the security controls that we originally looked for, username and password. They had some MFAs on some accounts, but the plot thickens because as we started to talk to them, their security team, myself, and their team, we got on the phone and I said, how much data do you have out there? I mean, we've been working with you. You're our local provider for, I don't know, 10 years maybe? And they said, yeah, it's all out there. So they were utilizing an FTP site to get the data. It was going out. They were pulling it into their database. It was secured though. Let me clarify that. It was a secured site. They just left it all sitting out there. And that was actually where that breach had occurred. So once they were in, not only were we talking about current employee information, past employee information, the previous customer appreciation data, it was all sitting out there in that site. So as we start talking about these things, is your marketing team going to even ask that question? Probably not, right? These are some really good conversations to take back, talk to your team about, and ask them those hard questions. They're going to look at you like, I don't know. And that's okay, right? What we want to do is we want to start that conversation. We want to talk about how are files being transferred? How are those third-party controls being put in place? What's the retention on those secure sites if that's how they're transferring? I had a company that was not doing it the right way, we'll just say that, but they literally gave the third-party VPN access into their database so that they could craft and pull the fields that they needed. It happens, right? And it's from the IT side, I get it. It made sense in the first place. Hey, we'll give them a secure VPN. They gave them a device, but now they're in on your servers. They're pulling your data. They have access to it. And what you don't want is somebody else getting to that data. So just a few things to take back and kind of help you sleep a little better at night. So then we talk about this one as we're kind of moving into some of the other fun things that happen. Do you want a receipt with that purchase? So this one has a lot of text on it. I'm not a huge fan of text on slides. I'll just throw that out there for all of you. I've seen some really nice presentations here today, and that's the marketing piece of me, but I do have people who've asked for slide decks, so you get text today. But serving up Chinese adult content on the company website. Who thinks that's a good idea? Yeah, probably not. But nobody knew. So they were hidden pages that had been created. One of the big things there is that they really didn't know. Do you know what your website is serving up to your public? There are tools, and I know a lot of you in here probably know more tools than I do, but you can actually go and look at all the pages that are populating out there under your domain, hidden and unhidden. But part of that is just knowing that you need to do that. And one of the biggest things I run into is when we're working with the marketing team, the technology security team says, hey, we want to do pen testing, we want to do a website scan, we want to do all this stuff. Well, most of the companies aren't hosting their website in-house, right? They have a third party hosting it. Most of the third parties say, whoa, wait a minute. You can't just run a scan against our servers, our environment. It might do something to it. So part of the question that we run into is, okay, who is checking that then? Who's checking the website? Who's running the scans? One of the things, it's a candid conversation. And again, it's probably your marketing team, whoever's working with those teams, to ask, if they're doing scans, get a copy of the results. Can we see what that looks like? Websites have a lot of pieces and parts, as probably everybody in this room knows, once we get into plugins and the base level and all that. It's good to get the scan reports or do your own scanning. And there's been several conversations where we've said, you know what, if you're not doing a scan or not providing results, then we'll go ahead and do that scan ourselves. So we schedule it, we pick a time, and we do that. Because I don't think any of us wants to have our site hosting up Chinese porn, unless we're getting a cut, right? All right. So kind of as we go through some of those scenarios, key things here, it's not just marketing, right? We see a trend across the board. As we look at organizations as a whole, one of the biggest things when I go into an organization, I go in and I do security management and all that fun stuff and policies and procedures and governance is the big word these days, but it's really documentation, okay? Nobody likes documentation. I'll help you with your documentation. But your marketing department, your HR team, operations, your vendors, accounting, your field teams, they all have access to the same playground that everybody else does on the internet, right? It's like we used to go into our business environments, we each had our computers, we had our own little systems. That is not the case anymore. Now we share this area, share this territory. They need to know what questions to ask and what ways to handle data. HR departments, I don't want to talk about HR departments, never mind. No. But again, they're trying to do their job, right? They have jobs to do. They have things to do. One of our biggest things I see is shadow IT. Anybody in here seeing shadow IT these days? Oh yeah, there we go. I knew it was out there. Yeah, so why do we have shadow IT? Why don't they just come over to our technology and say, hey, I need a tool to do this? You'll tell them no. Oh, man. Okay, that's one reason for sure. What else? What's that? Takes too long. The process, right? We have a process. Yes, it takes too long.
We might not be the cheapest.
Might not be the cheapest. Yes, there is that. We have those penny pinchers. Those bean counters come after us, IT people, because we're always buying stuff. And it's just easier. Sometimes they literally don't know. I went to an organization, into a business, and I sat down, they were onboarding, and I meet with accounting, I meet with marketing, I'm talking to their whole team. Come to find out, they had 4 different licenses to Dropbox, all under personal email addresses. Okay, all right, I guess. And IT didn't know that they had Dropbox usage. Sounds about right? But it wasn't nefarious. They weren't trying to skirt the system or anything like that. They literally just had a need for that tool, and it either took too long, it cost too much, somebody told them no. But those are the things that we're working through. And sometimes it's just as innocent as we just didn't know. There was a company I worked with, and they had a great product. They had a project management suite. And I started working with their technology security team, and we started doing interviews and whatever. And I was like, oh, that's pretty slick. They had built it out over 2 years, their project management. It was a communications team. Yeah, it probably does go back to the marketing again. But they had business continuity planning out there, okay? They had communication plans for instant response out there. They had it awesome. I go back to the IT team and I said, how come the whole organization isn't using this? And they're like, what is that? I said, well, okay. So we went over and we had to talk and we had to figure out, okay, what is the best solution and what is the best way to go about it? Because they had gotten it and set it up themselves, it didn't have MFA on it. It hadn't been through a security review. There wasn't any contract review. Nobody owned it specifically, like from a technical standpoint. And so when recovery time goes, and now we're dumping into like the business continuity, business impact analysis, right? When it goes away or there's a problem, who can fix it? We can't support it if we don't know about it, right? So that's one of the biggest things that I talk to these teams about it is we can't support it if we don't know about it. If it's something that is really a no kind of item, try to bring a solution to the table. And there's definitely things that I've said no to. There was what was it called? This is back. I mean, the tool itself came out probably 20 years ago, but it was to make screenshots easier for AS400s if you're using it. Anybody that's come out of AS400 environment, I series, E series, what do you want to call them? IBM people. Any of my green screen fans back there? It was difficult to take reports out. We got a couple to take screenshots to get that images. So there was a tool that was available, I don't know, 20 years ago. I mean, and this was probably 3 years ago. I went into this environment and they said, oh yeah, we use this to get our screenshots. And I'm like, that hasn't been updated in at least 10 years. Oh yeah, well. So what we had to do is we had to say, okay, how do we get those screenshots, that data that they needed, and how do we export that, get it out in a way that they can use? There are new tools available today that were free, easy to replace. But again, we need to know about it and we need to have them on board so that we can keep their jobs going too. So just wrapping it up, like I said, a few quick stories. I'm open to questions. I'm open to comments. If you have a story, we all probably have a story or two. But never underestimate the positive potential of a good mistake, right? These are things we've seen along the way, I've seen along the way, and I wanted to share them so that you can take those back and learn from them as well. If you have others, like I said, I'm happy to answer questions or welcome to entertain other stories, or I can tell other stories. Any questions? Thank you, I appreciate it.